How is it going, everybody? You're watching Then About Tech. So Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram were down again. And today, I'm gonna explain you why. So you have probably seen, read, or even experienced this today. Facebook messages, Instagram, and WhatsApp were down. They were just not working alongside with other Facebook services. This happened for about 45 minutes to an hour. It depended a bit on where in the world you were. And we had issues with connection. So on WhatsApp mainly, we just couldn't connect. We got the image with the connecting icon on top. Sometimes you couldn't send messages. So you would send a message and you would have the little clock icon and the messages wouldn't be sent. And on Instagram, we had weird issues with a 5xx server error. Pretty weird, right? Or the feed just wouldn't work. Same thing with Facebook messages. We just got a message saying no network or something, making a lot of people think that we had connection issues with our smartphones, but it wasn't the case. A lot of people were just thinking the internet was down, the Wi-Fi, the 4G or something like that, but it wasn't the case. Facebook services were down once again. The funny thing is that WhatsApp has been facing a weird issue for about a week now of not getting blue. If you use WhatsApp, you know what I mean, where you send a message and as soon as that other person sees that messages, you get a blue tick. And same thing with an audio message, as you would send an audio message, and as soon as that other person listens to that messages, plays that audio message, it would get blue as well. We are not getting that blue indication. A lot of people are not getting that for around a week. And even now that the issue is supposedly fixed, we're still not getting that blue indication. But after all, what actually happened? Well, Facebook didn't actually disclose the whole thing. They just said it was a technical issue and it was fixed. They used Twitter to communicate because their services were offline. So they used Twitter and they communicated and they said it was fixed, it was done, everything is fine. But the thing is, this is not the first time this has happened. Actually, it's been happening more and more often. If you remember, we had that same issue a few months ago and it was off, it was completely offline, it was completely down. Like even main Facebook was down for a few hours. It was not 45 minutes, so it was worse than that. And back in 2019, less than 2 years ago, we had the biggest Facebook outage, and it took more than a day for Facebook to actually solve this problem. So again, why? What's actually going on? So as you know, Facebook owns those other platforms, those other services and applications. Facebook is the owner of WhatsApp, Instagram, and many other smaller companies as well. And as Facebook gets bigger and bigger, and those are the words from Mark Zuckerberg himself, he says that the system is so massive now, the platform is so massive now, that even small changes can actually create unpredictable and big effects. And this is probably what's going on here. So those small changes can actually bring down the entire network. So what happened now when a few months ago and 2 years ago are generally one single thing. They run tests and those tests actually knock down the network. That's what happens most of the time. So there are internal tests, there are internal changes and testing and improvements, but the system is just so huge that those effects can actually escalate to a huge big deal, even if there are small changes or just tests or things like that. You got to think of like the domino pieces, like you knock over one and then it creates a huge effect, a huge thing. And you may remember and you may think, okay, but Facebook has been around for years, for so many years, and we've never had so many outages like we're having now, happening so and so often, affecting so many people. And that's exactly why. As Facebook gets bigger and bigger and bigger and more complex, it just seems like they can't handle this. Like they can't handle the complexity of this thing, of this monopoly that they're creating. And this is another very important thing that I want to talk about in this video. And it's the fact that monopolies have a ton of risks. Monopolies are extremely dangerous. When we rely on one company to do pretty much all of our communication with WhatsApp and Instagram direct messages and Facebook messages, and also to do pretty much all of our entertainment as well, when you're talking about social media with Instagram and Facebook, we get to a very, very complicated spot where we are relying a ton of our online interaction on just one single platform. And here I'm talking about communication and entertainment, but think about businesses. Think about people who depend, who rely on Instagram because they are digital influencers, or maybe because they have businesses and they use Facebook ads. So when we just rely a lot of our online life on just one single platform, I don't know, I feel really uneasy about this, don't you? And I'm not even considering those other platforms and companies that use Facebook credentials to log you in to their services. Like, for example, Spotify. We've had issues with Facebook a few months ago, those issues that I've mentioned that actually affected that ability to actually log in using Facebook credentials. So if this happens again, when this happens again, you won't even be able to listen to music. Just think about the size of this integration that Facebook is creating. Again, it's pretty dangerous. I'm not here saying that Facebook is bad or anything like that. Facebook is awesome. They've created so many ways for us to interact with each other, connect with each other, create businesses. They create so many jobs and things like that. But again, we got to think about that other side. We got to think of a plan B. Putting all of our eggs on the same basket is very, very risky, because when that basket goes down, literally, we have nothing else. Having a plan B, like for WhatsApp, having Telegram and Instagram installed on your phone, having a plan B for your entertainment, so using YouTube, for example, or having another music service, since I was talking about Spotify, and even for your company, try to use other platforms, other services. I don't think that relying on one single company to pretty much rule our online life is a really smart thing to do. And things like that, when things like that happen, it should raise a flag. It raised a flag on me, and I decided to make this video to maybe raise that flag for you too. And here we're only talking about outages, right? So problems with the server, or problems with maintenance or testing they're doing. So like Facebook created all those issues. But we gotta talk about cyber attacks, hackers, and things like that. So imagine again relying on just the Facebook platform and having somebody attacking Facebook, and you just lose the ability to use those services, and even worse, hacking your accounts, deleting your accounts, and you're just losing everything that you have created on those platforms. So again, have a plan B. Think of something else. Don't rely just on Facebook or just on Google or just on Apple. It's important to diversify, to have other options. Well, I've talked enough. That's pretty much it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to hit the like button down below. Again, a pretty different video, not really a review, not really a tutorial, just a conversation, just a talk, telling you what I think about this whole thing. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon to get notified whenever I post a new video, and also leave a comment down below. I love your feedback. So that's pretty much it, and I'll be back in a few days. As always, bye bye.